All right, good morning, everyone. I hope, see if my positioning is correct here. Like, this is a setup I don't normally use. I am going to talk a little bit about this little thing that I've been building the last few days or this week. It's a little habit tracker thing. So when I press it, it just like lights up green, and it has a few more features. But it's basically a little bit of a kind of like a checklist box that I can put in my physical space in my home to track habits. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about it, but let me talk about what problem it solves. So I brought a meal prep, a food box today, and ate my food in it. I tend to not do that because I make food at home. It's healthy, it's nice, it's cheap. And then I do prepare the boxes, but I do forget to bring them. So I wanted to have something that lights up in my space, and that I press it, and then it shines in a nice way, and then it kind of just keeps reminding me. Basically, it's like a to-do list app, but for one item and in a physical space. And you see, it turns red now after a while, and then I can light it up again, So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I built this, what hardware it contains, and also a little bit about the meta of why I built it, because I've been a little bit burnt out around programming lately, and I wanted to just, do something for the joy of it. And this is it. It has been great fun, and I want to talk a little bit about that as well. Before I do that, though, I would like to make a little bit of an announcement. On next Thursday, the Thursday after this one, the 28th of November, we're going to hold a Patreon exclusive live stream. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a couple of thousand people that support this show directly with some money, and that allows me and David to be creatively unfettered from sponsorships and have a little bit more of a stable production. It's the best way that you can support the production of Fun Function if you like it. And this is one of the little perks that you get from being a patron, is to get this live stream that is an insight into where me and David is at, what has been happening during the last year, what it is that we are planning for 2020, and we're going to take a lot of Q&A with you and get a feel for what patrons are thinking, and what you want, why you became a patron, and what you would like to see so far, and also ask any questions you would like about what it is to produce Fun Function, what we are feeling at the moment in our lives and the company, and or anything you want really. I think it's going to be a great stream, and I'm really excited about it. So if you're a patron, join us on the 28th of November. There is a link in the episode description on what exactly that is in your time zone, and you can also add it to your Google Calendar or Outlook or whatever. And also, of course, and if you're not a patron and you feel that sounds good, then this is a great time to join and do that. It's the best way that you can support us if you want. Now, the show. All right, so let me give you an overview of how this works. So the general idea is, whenever I take my food box to work, I just press this button and it rewards me with a little cool animation. And then after a while, it just fades out. And then the next day, it's going to light up again. It's going to be 1 day cycles, but for demonstration purposes, I've speeded this up a little bit here. So 1 day is approximately 20 seconds. So it's going to light up in a little bit. So this is the next day, and I will press it again, and it will reward me with a little animation when I take a food box to work. So the next day, I forget my food box. I have a little bit of a messy morning, and yeah, it's not a good day, and I miss my habit. and I don't bring a food box. So it's a little bit more annoying. It's now orange and a little bit like a warning light to indicate that you probably should bring a food box today because you missed it yesterday. However, that day is also a little bit of a piece of shit day, so I forget the food box once again. And then the next day it will look like this. Turning red, really, really annoying. And yeah, it's not good. But it pushes me, like it alerts me, and I do bring a food box and I press it. And rewards me when animation, cleans the red out, just like that, and it's green again, and it's just like, good. And then it goes back to sleep. And then the next day, it's back in green. And then we just keep going like that. I press it, and it's green again, and we're golden. Maybe I miss a day here and there, but that's cool. It's this habit tracker allows for a little leeway between things, and I'll press this here. And now you see it went blue. And then is if I keep the streak alive for 5 check-ins without breaking the streak, and breaking the streak happens after, like if I miss the day that it's red, then everything is broken. If I do that, I enter this power mode where the base color, the good color, is blue instead of green to indicate that, hey, I'm on a roll now and I don't want to break that. So that is blue, the power streak. So you see, like the next day, it's going to come on as blue here, and it will keep on rolling like that. So if I go whoop, and it will keep the blue streak will be kept like that, the power streak, until I fail for 3 days in a row. I'll show you what that looks like. So here we are on the final day of our, I don't know, grace zone or buffer or whatever we like to call it. And if I miss this day, then the streak is broken. Then I'm like off the habit streak. And that's what we don't want to do. Don't want to lose that power streak, but we did. And now if I reactivate the button, taking a new food box, like restarting my streak, then we're back to green. I'm no longer on the power streak, and I have to work that back. So that's the general idea of this is all it does. Okay, so finally let me show you some code here and like how this thing is actually built. A lot of people are probably NC like. So as you see here, like the cool thing about the Photon is that it's like this thing is actually connected to, like you see that it's just a battery. Like this is not actually connected to my computer. So this is connected through the internet. We have Wi-Fi, and you use this web IDE at Particle. I think they also have a desktop thing, but you use this web IDE, and then in order to update the code, you change something here. Let's say I just change like the window size here. Window is, by the way, how big the days are. It's like how I use debug it. So I just press flash here, and then the device just updates and flashes itself over the internet, and then it's like back up. It's really cool. You see here, like it turned off, and it should be on again in a second, hopefully. That's finding Wi-Fi. Now it's updated, and then it's active. And now it works with the new code that I just deployed. It's really, really easy to work with. What's nice about this cloud setup that they have going is that it gives you, besides very easy way of like pushing it down without like having a serial port setup or whatever. You can also easily expose functions on the device. Like let's say that you have like something that I don't know, you want this to light up when you have a build failing or something. Then you can just expose an arbitrary function here over their cloud, so that gives you like an endpoint, and then you can like call things on it. There's also publish and subscribe things, and it's very nice. But for the purposes of this thing, like this case, all the cloud gives me is like the deployment, and I can deploy things to, let's say that I have one of these things for prototyping here and one thing at home, and then I can very easily deploy to the thing at home as well. So you can pick which device you deploy to. But anyway, you code for it in a C dialect. And you see here, like the first thing I think it's C with it. I don't know if it's C dialect or C whatever. It's C-ish, and it's not too hard to program because C is so simple. Like it has almost no constructs. And I pulled in the internet button library. So you see, like this thing here is the Photon, the particle Photon is actually this little chip in the center. The thing around it is just like a cabinet with buttons and clicky buttons and this multi-LED ring. The core chip here, this is actually like just $19 to buy. It's a super simple little computer, Wi-Fi powered, that with all these cloud things. You can also get them with cellular. So if you want to build like a boat or something that is remote controlled and battery powered, then that is out in like the sea, then you can do that. But I set up some parameters here. Like this is how the seconds in a day is what we use as a basis for, like that's a window size here. And then the power streak, the blue thing that I talked about, like this configured here. Then I have a bunch of variables here that are like the the state, when the last check-in, like the clicky thing is, how long the streak in, and when the last rewarded check-in is. That's the reward refers to like incrementing the streak and also like this animation. So why we have that is so that I can't go like clicking it multiple times in the same window to get the animation multiple times. I have to like actually wait until the next day until it actually gives me my reward, that little nice animation, like. And this is a struct for the persisted state. It's structs, if you don't know them, it's kind of like I don't know, let's imagine that you just a normal object literal in JavaScript has a type. It's sort of like a very lightweight class, but only with data, perhaps we could say that. When I have this persist and restore functions, which puts them into the ROM at the memory address here. I used to when I started putting just these methods at different points in the ROM, they tended to overwrite each other on the addresses, so it confused me, so I just created like this one persisted state. There's most likely a much better way to do this, but I just haven't bothered. I just made something that worked, and it works, and it just, it's so nice to just work like that. System thread, this is just for disabling the whole so that it doesn't have, like normally the Photon connects to the internet before it starts the program, but that becomes a little bit annoying when it doesn't really find the Wi-Fi, and this doesn't really need Wi-Fi access to run the program itself. So I just disable that. So now it connects to the internet, like it connects to the internet later and does the updates later. So the setup here, this runs when the when the device is started and gets power. And the first thing it does is restore the state from ROM, if it has one, and puts the last check-in streak and from ROM memory into the variables. This is just some debug data. This is very nice. You can actually this is very nice when you're working with hardware. You can publish private messages on their cloud, and then you can listen to them in this where the hell is this, in the console here. So you can see like all the logs. We don't see any logs here because they haven't been published yet here, but they will appear in this very nice interface, so you can very easily debug your system. And then you, like this is where I just turn off the little LED indicators, so you have control over that, so it doesn't annoy us. And then everything runs in this loop. So if you're familiar with game programming, this will be not weird at all, but for web developers, it's a little bit wonky. What we do is that this runs all the time. You don't really know how often it runs. It runs as often as it can. And every loop, it gets the current time. Then it calculates the current window, which is like basically the current day, the general term for day. In this case, like for debugging purposes, I use 20 seconds. Because otherwise it will be very slow debugging, but normally it will be a day. And here is like Windows since epoch. So I used like the Unix timestamp here. I don't really care about time zones here, which would be the proper thing to do. But since Swedish time zone is so close to the UTC that like Unix epoch uses, it really doesn't matter to me. If you're on the American time zone, this code won't work and you will have to like fix it. But for me, this is just something I did for me, just to play around, so I don't care. And time zones are so hard to work with. It would be like, if I had worked with time zones here, it would have easily been like 9/10 of the time would be figuring out the time zone problem. So I just didn't bother. It wasn't important, so I just did it. And that was so liberating. I was so liberating to just omit like a glaring bug like that. And that is something I couldn't do in a production project, and I couldn't really do it in a, like, if I did it like, show how to do it in the proper way in a function video, you know? Like I just had to, so nice. Like quality is important, but it's also important to just let go of it sometimes, and so just like go for it, you know? On a production software, but for a project like this, so good. And then I just check here if the window has passed, and if it goes into the red here, then we turn all the LEDs off, like we clear all the state, and then we persist that state. Oops. And here is the final day of the grace period, the buffer. That means that we go, our system, all LEDs should be red, and then this is also the same on the previous day. All the red LEDs should be orange, and here is the day before. And light idle 2 is just like this. It's the green idling animation. It's just a slightly greener green, like a brighter green than the first day. So kind of like, yeah, you missed one day, but it's kind of like, just a little bit more. And then this here is when the check-in was made this current day. And that means that the reward animation might not have been run yet. So we check like if that has been run, and if it hasn't, we issue the reward, like we increase the streak, and we do this light reward animation. And that is down here, which is just basically just is a little for loop which lights up the LEDs at index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to up to 12, and between each run it runs a delay. So this is It's important that like this is a synchronous language. So this is kind of nice, you know, like I guess when something is so single threaded, you can just use sleep or delay instead of like having some functional construct to deal with it like you have to do in JavaScript. I mean, it's nice, it's more scalable, you can, when things become more complex, I mean, I'm not saying that complexity isn't necessary. It was just very nice to just, okay, just to sleep, you know, there's a delay. It's so easy to build this. So easy to build simple things when you have simple tools. Then this is also the code for the fading out. It fades out. It's a little bit different from the demo I did, but the principle is the same. And it fades out here relative to the window size. It looks more complicated than this, but it just fades them out. Then if I look here back in the loop, you see here like if button 3 on, then we just set the last check-in to the current time, and then we persist that. And then on the next loop, that is what it's going to react to. It's like very, very little code to do all this. And it's so nice to do it, you know? I just had so much fun, and I strongly recommend everyone to do something like this. To buy the Photon internet button, if you want to check this out, it's a really cool product, and I'm a big fan of.